Hi, my name's Tyler Jansen, and today I'll be doing a case study on the Idaho Wildlife Federation. To start, the Idaho Wildlife Federation's mission statement states that the Idaho Wildlife Federation is the oldest and largest conservation organization promoting the conservation of Idaho's wildlife heritage and legacy of sporting opportunities. Now let's get a little bit into their organization history. So, the Idaho Wildlife Federation was founded in 1936. The Idaho Wildlife Federation quickly became the state's leading voice and influence to curtail decline and rebound game in wildlife populations. 2 years after their founding, they successfully campaigned for the passage of the Citizens Initiative of 1938, establishing an independent commission to guide wildlife management by the North American model. Today, the Idaho Wildlife Federation is the voice of Idaho's wildlife, habitat, public lands, and sporting interests. In the state's legislature, we serve a daily presence to advocate and proactive legislation for the benefit of wildlife and access, and defeat the bills that would roll back fish and wildlife protections and privatize wildlife and seize our shared public lands or special interest exploration. Here is the annual revenue and expenses of the Idaho Wildlife Federation. So here is their statement of revenue you can see, and you could show it'll say their their fundraising events, and then their total amount of revenue this year can be seen right here. This is non-cash contributions, and then this is like gifts, cash, and those types of donations on top. And then here for expenses, I put it in the total expenses, the program service expenses, management and general expenses, and fundraising expenses, and I put the totals right below. So total expenses were $436,437, and the expenses of program services were $338,000, and management and general expenses were $97,000, and fundraising expenses were $184,000. And for further clarification, management and general expenses, that's just like keeping the lights on, paying the bills, making sure their place is still running, and in program and service expenses is more inclined to what they do, like helping wildlife. Like they need machinery to help sustain river flow or put fish into the lakes and stuff like that. And all these reports are from the 2022 tax year as well. Here we have the board of directors and leadership staff for the Idaho Wildlife Federation. First, right here, we have Brian Brooks, who's the executive director. Brian grew up in Idaho hunting and fishing in every corner of the state, so he's very passionate about this career. And then over here, we have Daniel Rich, which is the communications and outreach coordinator. And he's a very experienced outdoor journalist, and he is based off of in Boise. And then over here, we have Garrett Visser, which is the conservation program coordinator. And Garrett actually grew up in South Carolina, and then later on in life, he moved down here, and he is also based off in Boise, helping out the Idaho wildlife. And then last, we have Rebecca Gordon, who's the director of development. And then she always grew up hunting and fishing with her dad in the Sierra Nevada mountains, where eventually later on in life, just like Garrett, brought her down to Idaho, where she's now helping the Idaho wildlife. Okay, and then here are the programs offered by the Idaho Wildlife and how they impact your local community. So they have wildlife advocacy, which works and protects to restore wildlife habitats, promote ethical hunting and fishing practices, and defend public land access. There's also wildlife friendly certifications, which recognizes landowners who implement wildlife friendly practices on the properties, such as providing water sources, reducing fencing, and planting native vegetation. They also have Wildlife Watch, which encourages and educates the public to go have viewing opportunities in Idaho, such as bird watching, wildlife photography, and citizen science. And then finally, they also have wildlife education. They partner with schools, libraries, and other organizations to provide wildlife education programs for children and adults, such as Project Wild, Idaho Bird by Bird, and Idaho Master Naturalist. So the Idaho Wildlife Federation, their primary funding sources, they are big on donations. They have multiple ways you can donate. You could gift something. It doesn't have to be money. It could be physical items that could help them. You could gift them cash. They also receive a little bit of funding from the state since they do help all of Idaho's wildlife. And then they also do fundraising events to further their recognition and get more help and more donations and such and such. All right, and then here are the fundraising strategies the Idaho Wildlife Federation uses. They do a lot of web-based slash donations through their website and send emails out to subscribers of their services. And they also provide free wildlife education services, such as like Hunter Ed or like a day class, where it teaches you about just safety in the wilderness. And then during and after, donations are very encouraged since they are offering a free public service for the community. And they also do special events such as like those classes, or they'll have like maybe like little fishing tournaments or just something outdoors where it gets everyone outside and gets the recognition of their company out there to receive more fundraising opportunities and donations. And then finally, some of the fundraising messages they put out is to support us and that our generous gift will support their work in conserving Idaho's wildlife, waterways, and public lands for future generations. They also make a gift on behalf of wildlife. And then other messaging includes such as like ways to donate, donating money. You can send gifts along with their website. People who can't help financially, they allow them other ways to donate, which I put the tabs right over here so you can kind of get a little idea of what their website looks like. All right. And then finally here is we have our sources. Here's the GuideStar source. And then Google searches was just a couple little things that GuideStar didn't provide, such as like founding dates and little quick searches like that. All right. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed. This is my case study on the Idaho Wildlife Federation, Inc.